I mentioned that one of the reasons North Carolina doesn't have many unions is that we have laws that make it difficult for unions here. So I want to talk about one law in particular that we're fighting hard at the General Assembly to try and get repealed. North Carolina and Virginia are the only two states in the country to make it completely illegal for public employees to collectively bargain. So that means that state, city, county workers, you can join a union, but you can't collectively bargain a contract. And that's really the power of a union. This law was put on the books in the mid-1950s, and they actually tried to put a law on there that public workers couldn't join a union either, but that was ruled unconstitutional. So we have public workers like the firefighters, state employees who belong to a union, but they can't negotiate a contract. If you've learned labor history, you realize that private sector workers, those who work for industry, we've had that right since 1935. And as I mentioned, only North Carolina and Virginia make it completely illegal for public employees to collectively bargain. We have been fighting very hard in North Carolina to get that law repealed. And we have a growing coalition that includes the state NAACP, a lot of religious leaders, civil rights organizations that are fighting to try and get this law off the books, because it's really a matter of simple fairness. There's no reason that public workers in this state shouldn't have the same rights that private sector workers have had since 1935. And let me explain exactly what we're trying to do, because it's a very baby step. We are just trying to get this law repealed. So we're not trying to say to local governments and state government, you have to collectively bargain with your employees. We're not mandating collective bargaining. We're not saying that public workers should strike, because that's what the other side always goes to, that, if we have workers organized in unions and they get collective bargaining, then firefighters are going to stand by while houses burn down, or we're going to have school children sitting in classrooms with no instructor because the teachers are out on strike. North Carolina has a separate law that makes it illegal for public employees to strike, and we're not talking about doing anything to that. So it's a simple change we're asking for, but it sure isn't simple to get this passed. We have been fighting for several years, and we will continue to fight this battle until we get this law overturned, because I tell folks, think about this. This law, it's really insulting to public workers. I mean, we say to public school bus drivers, we trust you enough to drive our kids safely to and from school every day, but we're not going to give you the same right as a bus driver for Greyhound. It says to our police officers and firefighters, we expect you to risk your life to protect us, but we won't give you the same right as a security guard at the mall.